Hello, this is Talon with Old Guy Stuff on Visit Corner Lane. And I got a request for showing how I make my dog leashes because I left a comment about that several years back and somebody asked how I would do that. Okay, I'm going to get these things out here, but basically some basic skills that make a dog leash. You can make all kinds of cool stuff out of it. Like when I do my barrel part, this is a 6-strand barrel as opposed to the 4-strand that I'm going to do. This is 6-strand also. This heart is just a 4-strand barrel. That's it. Okay. What are you going to need for this project? Well, I'll just get these out of the way. You want a lighter because we're going to be dealing with some paracord. And if you've dealt with paracord, you know the deal about how you like to burn the ends usually. You're going to want something to cut that cord with. So I'm just using my Boatsman. I did a video on this many years ago. Excellent multi-tool type knife by Victorinox. You're going to want some paracord. Okay, this is not the paracord I'm going to use in the project, but it's short enough to actually, and with enough change in color that you can actually see what's going on, because the stuff I'm going to use, you wouldn't be able to see it well. Okay, so we'll get this out of here for now. In the event that you might need to stop from time to time while you're doing it for whatever reason, a couple clothespins will work really good. Why might you need to stop? Well, who knows? I mean, somebody might call on the phone and it might be an emergency or something. You never know. Okay, so just have something you can pin the material down with. Okay. This is optional, and I'm not going to actually hook it up onto mine. This is a dog leash that I made, and I used it for 12 years before I had to do a repair on it. This one is 8 feet long. This part here is just basically a cobra that's got a twist to it, and this is over my repair, so you can't see the repair. Okay, so the difference in a dog leash and a lanyard is length. That is the only real difference. Okay. So, some things we're going to be looking at on this though. Basic techniques or skills for things that we're going to need on this. We're going to need to make a barrel. Kind of like when I showed these. Okay. But instead of 6 strands like this is, it's going to be 4 strands. Okay. We're going to need to know how to do this. I don't even remember what it's called. But it's your basic thing. Sorry, I just don't remember. And a barrel at the end. Now, this barrel at the end looks bigger than the other barrel, but that's only because it's going around this material here. The whole purpose of this is so that you have something you can adjust and have it around your wrist, or if you need to, you can kind of shorten it up too. Okay, that is really the only difference. So we're going to make one that's going to be basically just like a lanyard. Okay, so let us begin. To start with, to do the barrel, okay, I've just got 2 short pieces here. Actually, you're going to want to use your entire material, but I'm not going to be moving around 50 feet worth of cordage just to show this particular step right now. Okay, but you're going to want to double it up so you have a loop. Okay, mine's only going to be this long. If I may try to make a dog leash out of this, my dog leash is going to be about 6 inches long. So we're not going to actually make the dog leash on this part. Okay, I got this other one. I just meet the ends up and I'll loop it also. Okay, now here's some basic idea for you. Okay, if I was going to do a square knot based on larks, I would feed an entire loop through the other loop and fold it over. Okay, this is not part of the process, but this is what would happen, right? Okay, so I would have what's called a lark's head, and then you open that up and fold that over, and you got your square knot, right? Okay, so what's going to happen though is we're going to have this loop, and this loop is just one of them. It's going to go through it, and we're going to get the ends together. That way when we pull them, we know where the centers are. That's the important part. Got to get your centers. Okay, now then, I'm just gonna kind of straighten it out some. And then on this part, I'm gonna fold it over. So basically, I just have a loop. It does not matter which part's up on top. I'm gonna have a loop that's got the other strand going through it, okay? Now imagine if I'm doing this with 50 feet of material right now, which is why I'm doing the shorter version just to show. All right, now, here's some basic things. The way I like to do this is I've got it bent like this, and I'm gonna go over this one and under that one, okay? And if you can keep both of them down at the same time, that is helpful, but I'm gonna go over one and under the other one, just like that, okay? Just like that. This is actually the hardest part because things move around freely, but once you have this part done, everything is just super easy. And this is not even difficult, it's just things moving around. So now I've got something to, I'm gonna go over this one and under this one, and when I go under this one, that's what's gonna hold it all together. So I'm gonna go over, and I'm gonna go under like that, and goes through, okay? Now, if I'm not trying to show this on a camera and I'm holding it normal, it's super easy to do, okay? Now, when I tighten it up, it pretty much makes a square like that. Let me see if I can zoom in some. Pretty much makes the thing that looks gonna look like a square, all right? Now, in Europe, they call this a square knot. Okay, what I showed at first is what American Boy Scouts would call a square knot. Well, this is more like a square, so they call this a square knot, and a Boy Scout square knot they call a reef knot, okay? When I look at the other side, it's still gonna look like a square, but it's gonna have this thing going across it, right in there, okay? So I've got this part like that. Let me show that one more time, so we're gonna undo it. I got a marlin spike on that knife, but I think I can pull this apart without using a marlin spike. Okay, and get this part. There we go. So now I'm back to my loop. Now I'm back to my loop, okay? So I'm gonna go over, under, and then over, under. That's my whole process. So over this one and under that loop. Over this one and under the loop that's closest to me. That's my first one. That's the hardest one just because things move around freely, and cinch it up so it's nice and tight. Now, if you did everything just right, all your strands coming off of this square are going to be even, okay? They're going to be even. Minus the part for that little cross piece right there. Okay, so now what I do after this, you got a couple ways to go. If you want it to twist, and this is how I made my first dog chew toy, this is a 4-strand barrel braid like we're going to do here, but the material is thicker, right? If you want it to have the twist look to it, this is what you do. You go over at an angle. You go at an angle, okay? So I go over at an angle like this. And everything's going to be at an angle. So now I went over this one. Now it's over 2. Okay. And this one's going to be over 2. So it's over 1 at an angle, over 2, over 2, and now it's over, under. Okay. So I went at an angle, then I did over 2, over, under. Now, you want to make sure that you're pulling it nice and even. Okay. It does not have to be super tight, but I do like to make things tight. Okay. So I can keep going like that, and it's going to give me the kind of twist that I have on this one. Or on my bigger one, it's going to be a twisted type look. All right. Or the other way to do it, and I don't do this one. If you want it to be straight lines instead of twist look, then you go straight across like that. And then it's still over, under. And on the other one, you go over, under, right? I don't like to do it that way. That's not my way. I like to have the twist. So I'm going over one, like this. Hold it down. Over one, under one. I'm sorry, over two, excuse me. Over two. And then it's over one, under one. Like that. And then you just kind of cinch it up. And you keep on going and keep on going. Okay? So I'm going to pause it for right now, and I'm going to show you what happens after I do 8 of those. Okay, so this is as far as I'm going to take this part of it. Now, to get to the next part, notice how this part in here actually is feeding nice and even into the middle in here. Okay? This one does also. It's just, this is actual paracord. This is the cheapy stuff a lot of stores sell. Okay? But if you notice, it's nice and even inside of here. Okay? Everybody has a preference on how they do this. I like to make it to where it's on the inside. So I'm going to show you how I get this inside thing. Zoom out a little bit. That way I can see better too. Okay? Now, what happens is, what we want to do is take this material, we're going to go back under itself. Now, it's going to take a little bit of work to get that just right. But I'm going to pull this part up while holding everything else down. So now I've got this kind of opening in here. Now I'm going to take the working end of the material that I just opened up, and I'm going to stick it back through here. So it's going towards the center of my project. Okay? And I'm going to go around and do the next part. So I'm going clockwise. I did everything on this counterclockwise. Now I'm going clockwise because I'm going back on itself. So I pull that up while holding these down, and I slide this through just like that. And then I tighten this part back down like that because you do want this to be tight. Okay, I tighten it back down, and then I pull that through. Okay, then I go back another one. Okay, go back one more. Actually, I'm going back all 4. Okay, I've got my loop that I loosened up from here, and I shove this one through. And then I pull that back down, I hold it with my finger. Oh, it would help if I pulled the right one, you know. That must be getting old. Okay, and same one, loosen that up. Same, well, not same one, but same thing. Okay, and I go through this loop like this. If you're using fids, that makes it helpful, but you don't have to. I'm not using fids. I got messed up hands, and I can do it without fids. Okay, so now, if I look at this and I pull it, see, I've got this nice circular thing in here. Let's zoom in some. I've got this nice thing in here, and all these pieces are on the inside. Okay, so now let's get this set up for doing the actual barrel part. Not the big barrel, but whatever they call this. Okay, so on this part, the only thing I've added was I put this little carabiner here. You don't need it. You can just run more paracord through it. Just something, make a loop or whatever, but you want to loosen this up, pass something through it, and then I put it up on a clamp. You can have it on anything you want, but I find it better if I've got this kind of supported by something on the other end that I'm not working on. Okay? Now then, see if I can get this without too much glare. All right. I like to have matching colors on the outside and the other matching colors on the inside. Okay? So I like to do that. Now, on the inside part, notice I've got a lower one and a higher one, right? Okay, so that's important. Every 4 stitches, I'm going to have the same lower and higher. Okay, every 4 passes. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to, on the side that's my lower, And I'm going to take the one on the outside and I'm going to go under 2 and back over 1, just like that. Now, my colors are shifted a little bit, and my lower one is now on the right side. So I'm going to move the right side. Always move the side that is matching the lower. So under 2, like this, over 1. Now the left side is the high one, right? And this is the low one. So under 2, over 1, and under 2 over 1. And you just do that over and over and over. I'm going to be watching a movie when I do this. I'm not going to record every single step. But I'm going to be watching a movie when I do it because I don't even need to look at it when I do it. Okay, it's all under 2 over 1, under 2 over 1. And I do it in sets of 4. Notice my inside ones have the green and brown, right? My outside ones more gray and white. Okay, so under 2 over 1, like that. Change side now. Under 2 over 1, like that. Change side. Under 2 over 1, like that. Change side. Under 2 over 1, like that. Now I'm back to my greenish browns on the inside. Now, if I got to stop for a minute, like I'm going to go make some coffee, then I can just pin these like this. Okay? I pin the other side too. And I always stop in the same way, so I know when I come back to whatever's the highest one, that should be my left side. And I'm going to under 2 over 1. If you can remember a system like that, it will save you from backtracking, because in the old days, I used to have to backtrack about an inch or so to find out where I really was. And then I have to go redo it. Okay? As it is right now, I can just undo that, hold on to it, undo that, hold on to it. My lowest one on the inside is on the left side, and take my outside, which is the highest, and go under 2 over 1. And I'm going to keep on going like that. Okay? And under 2 over 1, and under 2 over 1. Now I'm running out of stuff, but I'm going to be working with 50 feet of material cut into 25-foot lengths, so they're not going to be this short. Okay? I'm going to do that while I'm watching a movie, so I'm going to make this part without you seeing it, but it's going to be done the same way on this entire length, and then I'll show you how I set up the end of it. Okay, so this is the material that I'm going to make the actual leash out of now. And I've got this part that I showed earlier, and this part going. And this is already 28 passes or 28 braids. I actually have to do about 250 to get to the end. And if you kind of look, this stuff is just laying all over the floor. This is about 50 feet of paracord. So it's gonna take a while, but it's definitely worth it. This is my 100-pound baby that I take for walks every day. Okay, so this is the final part then. I've already got 7 feet of this round braid. I think that's what it's called. I've got a couple inches of my barrel braid here, and I'm leaving it just like this. I'm not going to attach anything to the end. So I've got about 7 feet done. I only have about this much of the cord left, which is just fine. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to start out parallel. I'm going to make this in line with this part here. So that makes this a wider barrel that's going to be able to slide like that. There's a few ways I can do this, and this is the way that works good for me. Okay. What I want to do is get that square thing that I started out with, actually. And this is actually very similar to it. Okay. Very similar to it. So what I want to do get what it's going to look like, I've got this square deal going on. Okay. Some over, under, over, under. Okay. Okay. Check this out. So now I've got the square. Okay. It just takes some finagling around with it until you get it to look like you want. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. I have just tied knots before and then started my square around here. And that's going to work good too. Okay. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to just set my square in here. Now, when I did this before, remember what I did was I went over one, then over two, and then over two, and then over under, right? Okay, so I can go ahead and start with that. And then I'm going to feed this through here, like that. Now you have to make a decision how tight you want this to be, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and get this slid all the way over in here, because this is just for my wrist to go through. That's all it's really going to be for. I'm not using this to control my length or anything like that. Just for my wrist to go through. Now, so you got to decide how tight or how strong you want this to hold, okay? Okay, so I'm back into this part. I loosen that up, okay? And I've got to make it go through. And it doesn't matter which angle I'm going at. It really does not, okay? But what I do want to make sure is that I'm coming along this edge like this to go up. That's what I want to really go for. And then I pull it tight. I'm not pulling it too tight at this point, but I see I have this square with my round braid going through it. Okay, now I might start going tight. So I'm going over one, and then I'm going over two. Okay. And then this one's going to go over two. And this is going to go over under. I'm going to do about 10 stitches like this, or 10 braids like that. Now I'm tightening it up some, okay? And I'm going to keep going around like that then. So I've got two braids or stitches done on that. So over one, over two, and over under. Remember, we're going around this. We're going around that, okay? Sorry about the colors, though. This is the only thing I've got an abundance of. Okay. Over one, over two, and then over under. Anytime it comes up looking weird, you messed up. So just undo one set. That's really it. So I'm looking like this right now. Okay, I'm going to pause while I do the next 4 or 5. Okay, so I've got a couple inches here, and I made it pretty tight, so I'm probably one of the only ones in my family that's going to be able to really pull it to adjust it, but that's okay. I know how everybody likes to have the leash anyway. Okay, but this will pull. Wow, that's really hard. Got it. Okay. I need to exercise. All right, now I've got to decide what to do with this, and I could do it like I did this one. Okay, so let me grab a pair of pliers. Okay, my knife does have, well, this is a knife, but I'm going to use the scissors on this, and when I melt it, I'm going to use the pliers to kind of smash it together. Personally, I don't care too much for using scissors on paracord, because I don't like the way it ends up, but in this case, though, I'm going to smash it together good. So let me this side first. Finish that in there. Catch this side. I'm just going to press it in. The whole idea is keep it from coming undone. Since it's all camouflage looking, it's not really going to show. If you're going to go for bright colors, you might want to just do it a little neater. Okay. And I could use the lighter and press it like that. Just don't want to press it up against the middle part, because if we do make an adjustment, we want it to be able to actually move. Okay. All right, so this is the inside part here. So this should be able to slide like that. Now, like I said, I made it really tight on purpose. Okay, but the more I do it, it'll loosen up a little bit. Okay. So, show you how I'm going to put this on a harness. Okay, this is what we have been using as a temporary leash. I really like these harnesses. It's by probably a Chinese company. We sewed this on ourselves though, because our dog, even if we make this really tight, he can slip it. And he did when somebody sent their pit bull out to attack us one day. He slipped and nailed that pit bull. Not a good idea, guys, to send dogs out to attack people. Okay, so this part is basically a lark's head. And that's what I'm going to do with the one I just got finished making. I'm going to lark's head this. So I'm going to feed this through here, because this is what actually, if he jumps and does a 360, this actually keeps him from slipping out of the harness. Okay, so now we'll make the loop like this. Okay, put this in like this. And I don't like that. It's upside down for my particular taste. Let me do it like this. I'm just going to tie it. Going like that. Around. Like this. Go up. Several ways to tie a lark said this is one of them. Now this is going to act as a stopper knot. Okay. Going to act as a stopper knot. Which is why I do it. Now, if he tries to pull on this, and our dog is well over 100 pounds, very strong. But he tries to pull on this, that is not going to come off. And this won't slide up through there. And if I ever feel like it's going to, then I'm going to take and make a whipping like I would on the end of a rope. And I'm just going to, I'll whip it right there. But I don't think I'm going to need to. Okay, I still need to go through here, so let me do this. Now we're hooked up, so we're going to try this out tomorrow morning when we go for our walk. For the person that asked for this, I hope it's helpful. I know it's a long video, but trust me, I watched a 2-hour movie while I was making this, so it did take a long time. But I've been meaning to make it. So even if you don't like the video, don't feel bad. Okay? This is Tom with Old Guy Stuff on Busy Corner Lane. Hit like and subscribe. Have a safe, happy, peaceful, wonderful day, and goodbye. Honey, I just finished this leash. It is 6 feet long. And this is going to be very strong. And I hooked this up in here in what's called a lark's head, so we can unloop it to take it out. I don't think we should ever need to. I whipped this part. This is my stopper knot area, which is the barrel braid. There's no way this is going to come undone. Very strong.